I'm back. I wasn't here last week, but there were plenty of planks to look at, and now it's time for Talk Radio TV's Plank of the Week. And I'm delighted to say that we are joined once more by Jeremy Kyle, Talk Radio's drive time presenter and fantastic colleague that I've got with me every single day. And Emily Carver, who hasn't been here for a while. Welcome back to both of you.
Thank
you. We've got an awful lot to get on with, Jeremy.
Look, where have you been?
Well, I was in America.
Did you have a nice time?
I did have a nice time. I was finding that there were quite a lot of planks over there as well, though.
Yeah, well, we missed you. It wasn't the same,
No.
seriously. And it says here, I'm so glad that you're back.
Thank you very much indeed
Well done.
for saying that. And I am
That's
indeed back, and I'm not going away again for quite a long
Never.
time. But you're going away, aren't you? But
I
that's
am,
another
yeah,
story.
on my honeymoon with 11 people. That's
You
another
hate
story.
going away on holiday.
It's not the first honeymoon he's been on either, but that's not the point.
Brilliant.
We're
If you're
not
going to
talking-
throw stones,
Listen.
you're not the same. Ask him who he went to America with.
Well, never mind that.
Well, you just said
With
you
my
imply-
children.
Yes, by which wife?
Well, I didn't have more than one.
Okay.
But anyway, that's enough of the personal insults. And now I think we
We're
should let...
best mates,
I
aren't
think
we?
Emily Carver should kick us off. Who's your first plank, Emily?
Yeah.
Well, we can begin our personal insults of planks. Anyway, I'm going to go first with Nicola Sturgeon.
Very good choice.
Brilliant.
Now, this is because, I mean, there could be many reasons why Nicola Sturgeon is a plank. I think she's been nominated about 1 million times on this show. But this time, you know, we've had this big announcement from the Prime Minister that we're all going to be free, that there are no COVID restrictions. One of the major and what turned out to be controversial ideas was that we're no longer going to be mass testing people and those tests aren't going to be free. This is a great idea, but of course Nicola Sturgeon is saying that she does want to keep free testing, but of course she doesn't know how she's going to pay for it.
Well, yeah, because, of course, it's not actually free, is it? I mean, you have to pay for it somehow. Somebody's paying, and it's probably going to be us.
Yes, she says Westminster has to pay for it, a.k.a. England, but she has no plan for that.
Well, this is what I hate her, by the way, just so we should nail that here and now. I've watched for 2 years, and she and Drakeford have quite obviously tried to do everything they can to go against or make Boris look like an idiot, which he's been quite capable of doing on his own.
He doesn't need their help.
I have two questions. For a woman who is so hell-bent on independence, why should we be paying for anything that she wants? That's what I would say. And I also think that she will not have done her independent support any good with this at all, because lots of people came south. You know this over Christmas and New Year to Carlisle. I've never seen Carlisle before. We were in Newcastle. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I think Nicola Sturgeon's missed her point, and I think she's also missed her chance to get Scottish independence. And I don't think she'll be around much.
No,
I don't think
I think she's lost.
Genuinely believe
Yeah,
that.
no, I talked to a lot of people up there. I used to live up there, used to work up there, and an awful lot of people who used to support her and want independence now don't, because she's gone completely crazy.
Also, I think it was only last week that she was demanding that even if they got independence, even if they were no longer part of the UK, that England should continue to stump up the cash for their state pensions.
So how does that work, then?
She has no
That's
economic
ridiculous.
strategy.
I don't want
of
anything to do with you,
sorts.
but I want your money.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be quite happy to cut
But
it
also,
off.
do you know, part
Reparations.
of the problem with all these people like Drakeford and Sturgeon is that the media, like the BBC, pay attention to her.
Of course they do.
You know, just before we did this show, I was watching the BBC, and they were interviewing her and asking her about, you know, what she thought about Russia, Ukraine, and what should be done. And she's going, well, I think we should do more. Well, what's it going to do with her, frankly?
I don't understand how she's ascended to where she's ascended to. I genuinely, I'm not being horrible, I don't rate her. I think she's missed her moment. I don't think there will be Scottish independence, and I think she's almost a bit like Drakeford, sort of, what's that word? I'm getting old.
Past her sell-by date?
Yes, but like not of interest anymore.
Irrelevant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why you earn the big bucks.
Do you know,
I do believe.
I used to drink with her when I lived in Scotland. Yeah, I used
You used to drink with Nicola Sturgeon?
I did. You might know the bar, a place called Regano's, which is a sort of champagne bar in Glasgow.
I actually genuinely do, which is
I
quite
know, it is. Well, it's the place everybody goes.
Why did we know that we know
Because
that?
it's the place...
The only champagne bar in Glasgow.
I mean, if you want to, you know, any celebrity...
Regano's, definitely,
Any celebrity that goes to Glasgow goes to Regano's for champagne. And we used to drink in there together. We used to drink bottles of Veuve Clicquot, and she was quite normal in those days, and I don't know what's happened to her. I mean, you know, she's just got...
Would she talk to you now?
Off the scale. Well, she used to. We used to sort of exchange the odd message, and she was always vowing to come on the show, but she hasn't spoken to me for a couple of years.
It's become...
Probably because I keep slagging her off.
It's become pretty
probably
obvious to me that it's about her and not about the Scottish people, if I'm being completely honest.
Well, when you start to get to the point where you actually think it's sensible to cut the bottom off doors in order to keep the ventilation flowing through a school, and you go, that's scientific. Really?
Open a window, love.
Yeah.
There's all these narcissistic leaders, isn't it, really?
It is. Anyway, I'm pleased to see that she's still on this because she made it into Plank of the Year. So, Jeremy.
Well, now, my
who's
Plank
your
of the Week
first
was easy, and it was based on last night because, of course, with the ongoing situation in Ukraine, and we've spent days talking about it, and so we should, because the warmongers were wrong, and we are on the verge of something pretty horrific, I think. And I think that, you know, people will have their opinions. Last night, when you do the drive show on Talk, occasionally they'll say, well, Boris is about to do a press conference, and you're stuck between, oh, brilliant, I don't have to speak for now, this is great. You have to sit and listen, try and look interested in between chomping on a biscuit.
Yes.
Last night, they said, the leader of the free world, this is Joe Biden, can I just point out, is due to speak at 6 o'clock. This is 1 o'clock in America.
Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe. You're ruining my lines. Sleepy Joe, right? So for the final hour of the programme, this is why I want to make him Plank of the Week. I want you to know something. I was desperate to go to the loo during the 6 o'clock news. Wasn't allowed to because Joe was coming out.
Right.
Joe came out at 22 minutes past 7. So,
because I heard that.
Not
it wasn't
only,
even on your
and
show.
here's the ironic thing, and Dave was telling me this. He came out in America to speak at 2:22 on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022.
Goodness.
Now, I'm sure this wasn't planned. I think he was supposed to come out at 6 o'clock, i.e. 1 o'clock. I have to say, honestly, and I'm not being disrespectful, I think he's been a really impressive statesman and a successful politician. I can pull to shreds what he said last night. The guy is past it.
He sounds like he's reading
I
it, though.
actually genuinely worry that this is a man who's in charge of the free world. And I'm not being... If somebody makes Donald Trump look competent, which is what Joe
and presidential,
Biden...
actually.
I'm not being rude. That would never have happened last night. You can say what you want about Trump. I actually genuinely feel sorry for Biden. I feel like now, I say Plank, it's almost like a puppet.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to...
He looks like he's reading it.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's
and he was
for me
stumbling,
why.
wasn't he stumbling around over the words?
He's making Trump look popular, and that's not an easy thing.
the way the BBC ignore the clear incompetence of... it's sad almost to watch Biden's press conferences.
Completely agree.
He can't read his lines. No. He ends up getting angry and grumpy with people asking him questions.
Yeah, but he didn't take any questions last
night. And he hasn't travelled anywhere either.
They do say, don't they, and I'm not being disrespectful, they say he's got sunset dementia, the beginnings, they believe, because literally past 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, can't do it.
Yeah, but if you say that, you're ageist.
Why haven't his family allowed... I'm not being ageist. I actually... Same age as my dad was.
Yeah.
He's dead, by the way. There we go, bingo. But I feel sorry for them, and I think the people behind him should take some responsibility.
During
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, during the Afghan crisis, there were times when he came out and I thought they pumped him full of something. He came out kind of feeling as if he was a bit more
I feel sorry for him, and I think maybe I should make the planks around Joe Biden, because I think the world watches now and actually thinks that's not great.
Well, it could have been his second in command, couldn't it? Kamala Harris and her gaffes.
She's even worse.
You haven't heard
she said it's the only war in 70 years or something like that, forgetting all the others.
Have you seen her?
Well, I saw a clip of something that she said the other day, which was even more incomprehensible than anything he said. And she hasn't got dementia.
Donald Trump could stand against Joe Biden tomorrow and win. And that's how bad a job.
And what do you make of Putin, though? Because Putin, who is also, getting on in years, seems to never age at all. It's like as if he's got some kind of...
he's definitely got Botox.
He's definitely, but his face has kind of changed shape, hasn't it?
Ask me if that shocks me, that comment.
Doesn't shock you, does it?
I'll look shocked.
Is that your shock look?
Well
done.
It's just America. But no, about Putin, I said a couple of weeks ago, if we just change the tack very quickly, and I got slagged off for it.
Yeah.
I'm not a warmonger at all, but 70 years ago, another man walked across Europe saying, I'm going to take my people into the motherland. This guy, I think, is dangerous. I think this guy is very, very dangerous.
I think he is, but I think at the end of the day, he doesn't really want to have a war because it will make him suffer and the country
What's he doing then?
Suffer. He's just positioning himself. The Russians are very interesting people. I didn't know very many Russians until I went on holiday once to Turkey. And I know you can't base a holiday on it, but I stayed in this place and there are a lot of Russians there.
Yeah.
And they believe that they're right about everything. I suppose they say the same thing about us, but there are very few kind of countries that have such a feeling of nationalism. And he's doing everything he's doing in order to make the people of Russia feel proud.
I think the biggest fear for him, he
needs to have money.
He wants to take back the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I tell you what really scares him, I think, is that Ukraine, in the guise of being an independent state, I think he's terrified that the Russian people will look towards the independence the people from Ukraine are getting and think, do we want to live in this dictatorship? I think that's exactly why he's doing what he's doing. Just an opinion.
I think so.
But anyway, I'm going to say Joe Biden's advisors are planks.
I'm happy with Joe Biden being a plank.
Are you? Okay.
His whole team and him.
I don't mind that. Yeah, all of them, the whole lot, the White House.
What about you?
I'm going to go with the Welsh government.
Brilliant.
my first.
Excellent.
This is my favourite.
This is great, right? This is unbelievable. They
Let's
actually,
bash the devolved nations.
in the midst of all of the, the Ukraine-Russia stuff, and COVID restrictions, Drakeford's mad kind of policy to tape off large portions of the supermarket because you can't buy things there in case they're not essential.
He's such an idiot, man.
This is, I kid you not, this is their actual tweet. It says this: "We've just launched our new space strategy," and there's an emoji of a rocket, right? "We want to create more stellar jobs and become the galaxy's first sustainable space nation by 2040.
Wales?
When I saw
Wales?
this, right, I had to double check that it wasn't a parody account. It's not. Learn more about Wales' out of this world space sector here. And then there's a picture of something coming out of space. They've actually added NASA in it as well.
What's a sustainable space
Well, I
sector?
don't know. A space nation.
I mean,
So-
surely rockets are fueled by petrol.
No, this will be fueled by vegetables. Don't worry about that. It'll get up there somewhere.
Well, I mean, I've actually
Wow.
flown out of Cardiff Airport, right?
In a rocket?
Not in a rocket, no. It's not a very big airport.
No.
And it doesn't do
This
very
is
well.
fresh on the back very quickly. When you were away,
Yeah.
they announced this scheme, the Welsh Government, very proudly, and Emily knows this, where they were going to give 500 leavers from care.
Right.
Very good, right? £1,600 a month tax-free.
Which is more than the minimum
for
wage,
3
way
years, which
over.
is more than the minimum wage, because we want to try and integrate them back into society. And there was a footnote saying, but if you get a job, you keep the money.
Well,
to
these-
which I sort of went, why would they get a job? And got
Yeah.
called. I mean, the Welsh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
A rocket
and
and that.
And again, I'm afraid, on the same basis as Nicola Sturgeon, who's paying for all this? Are they paying for it? Are they asking us for the money?
Well, they're going to ask us for the money, and I don't think the
Also,
UK taxpayer is going to.
Where are they going to get the money for the
that?
space race? I mean, can you imagine?
Why does Wales need to
United
be in-
States, Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk is richer than Wales.
Elon Musk, the United States, Cardiff.
Cardiff. I said this thing. I hate. Because
And
I used to.
whose rocket is that coat hanging in the middle of the dance
I'll
floor?
tell you
is
what
it?
it's about. I mean, it's just a very funny story. I can't imagine that they were being serious. Do you think for a minute somebody just got hold of their
I
Twitter
genuinely
account?
think the sad thing is Drakeford probably is being serious. That's what I
mean, what are the
that's what I
comments on
find
that
quite
tweet?
worrying.
I mean, I didn't even look. I literally, when you see something, you just burst out laughing. So that's my first nomination, the Welsh Government. It's time for a little break. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Plank of the Week. I'm joined by Jeremy Kyle and Emily Carver. Emily, it's time for your second nomination.
My second nomination is going to be Jezza, Jeremy Corbyn.
I thought you were going to say Jeremy
Not
Kyle.
you.
for a
Not
minute. Oh, that
you
was a
this
close
week.
one.
Oh, no, I was quite worried.
Blimey.
And this has got to be because of his reaction.
Jeremy Corbyn. Now, there's a name I can sort of vaguely remember from the dark days of when the Labour Party actually believed in something.
Well, I mean, equally, it could be the Stop the War campaign,
Oh, yeah.
Young Labour, all of those on the hard left, Diane Abbott, John McDonnell, all of them lot. But
Yeah.
Jeremy Corbyn, the fan favourite, of course, he's siding with Russia.
Yeah,
of
again.
course, he's blaming the West for everything that's happening, even though Russia is the one with, 150,000 troops
Yes.
on the Ukraine border. And it's just this man, he's just stuck in the past, stuck in his student politics. He'll never change. In a way, it's sort of a bit of continuity for us all. This man will never, ever change his tune.
This is the same guy, by the way, who said that we should really investigate before telling everyone that the Russians had poisoned people in Salisbury.
Well, yes,
because
of
it might not
course.
have been them. It might have been some actor from the CIA.
I never quite worked out, and I wasn't here when that debacle was going on. I thought leading the Tory party against Jeremy Corbyn, I think any of us could have done that.
think
and I'm
so.
not being disrespectful. I could never quite work out how I thought the British public were going to vote for somebody who was so anti-Great Britain, everything to do with this country. If it's not Palestine or the Israeli, it's everybody is in the right and we're always in the wrong.
Yes.
The most unpatriotic, un-British. Do you not feel that about Jeremy Corbyn?
He doesn't like Britain very much.
I don't know why he's here. I don't know why
Well,
he
he's
doesn't
always
just sod
on
off
these-
somewhere else.
Well, also, he doesn't like the working class in this country because he thinks they're all racist. He thinks they're not, on the side
And he was one of the,
of socialism.
anti-Semitism among him was disgusting
Well,
with
exactly.
the Labour Party.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, he signed this open letter with the Stop the War campaign, essentially saying it's all our fault, it's all NATO's fault for expanding and all this. And then there's a little note at the end saying, and Putin's aggression should be, considered, or
Yes.
something to that
Can you
effect.
imagine
And it's
if
like,
he'd been
for
the
goodness
Prime
sake.
Minister?
Yeah, imagine.
I mean,
Just
I'm not,
imagine.
I said yesterday, it's interesting, I haven't heard the words Sue Gray or Partygate in 3 weeks, because this has fallen this is right up Boris Johnson Street.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, forgetting wine and cheese in number 10 and how people fell, how would you feel if Jeremy Corbyn was the leader of this country right now?
I mean, look at what we've got. We've got Biden in the US, we've got Trudeau in Canada, we've got Macron in France, we've got Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand, and God knows what else. Imagine, as you said, if Jeremy Corbyn was our leader. At least we've got a reasonably sensible government.
I never,
even if they've had a few parties.
ever gave him a hope in that election.
No. And
I'd have had everything I was on that Boris Johnson was going to whoop his backside. The British people, I've always thought, and genuinely mean this, I have great faith in the British people.
They don't like
I
extremists, do they?
They get it right when they have to get it right, by the way. And there was no way Jeremy Corbyn was going to be the Prime Minister. I think he's an idiot.
No. I mean, that's how bad the Labour Party is, though. But there's still people in the Labour Party who think that he should be still running it.
Yeah,
and they hate the idea that Keir Starmer's running it. But he's not much better, really. He just doesn't believe in anything, does he?
Every time I watch Keir Starmer, right, what was that? You're not leaderly, you're loyally. He's very forensic, and that's fine. But I actually get slagged when I say this. I do believe that we look to our politicians or our leaders to have some sort of verve, something about them that makes you want to buy into what they're saying or believe or feel like you're being drawn in. With Keir Starmer, I literally think you are one of the most boring human beings
he really
I've ever met.
Did you hear his Jonathan Van Tam style sporting analogy in his speech yesterday?
When you start leading 2-1...
They're all doing this now.
When you're 2-1 up, but you don't sub out your best defender, talking about mass testing.
I do think the Labour Party's changed, though. I know they've got a new PR company, and I think people like Wes Streeting and Stephen Reid actually genuinely talk, and they talk well, and they talk sense. But Starmer, to me, is so frightened of every different faction in his party.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
That he sits on the fence, and it's not inspiring. That would be my opinion.
I think that's fair enough. Who's your second plank?
Prince Charles.
Quite right, too. Everybody's going on about Prince Charles like he's some kind of hero.
He gave the Queen COVID.
Yeah, cheers, Charles. Chazza.
Chazza, me old son.
Right.
Listen, I've said before in his defence, it can't be great. Your life is you know what your job's going to be, and you only get it when your mother dies. Well, he's doing a pretty good job this week in doing it. I've said, listen, mate, you know I'm a royalist.
You are, well, you're not far away from the
my old man worked
seat
for the
of
royal
royalty,
family
are
for 41 years, and I have to say, I don't ever believe, and you might disagree with me, Emily, this country will not know what it has had until after this amazing lady has gone. I think she's been an unbelievable, stoic, brilliant woman, 70 years. And you see her now, she's beginning to look frail, there's no doubt about that. You see her and you think, we should be so, so grateful. And what does her son do? Goes around and gives her COVID at 95. And she said, and this is what I thought was very interesting, she said, I'm resuming light duties, which actually goes hand in hand with what Boris has announced on Thursday, because all of these people just get on with it. But yeah, jokingly, but Prince Charles, plank of the week, although I was very pleased a couple of weeks ago that the Queen said that she felt that Camilla should be Queen Consort, because if you move aside from everything, right, she's been an absolute rock to that man, and the British people have come round to her way of thinking, I think.
Well, there are other members of the royal family that you could be more, say, negative about than Camilla.
No, don't start
I mean,
me on that.
I did think about
Don't
nominating
start me.
Prince Andrew, but I mean, it's such a ridiculous story that you kind of go, it's not even plankish. You know, this is a guy who
More
said...
than plankish.
Yeah, who said, you know, I want my day in court. I demand a jury trial.
This
is all rubbish. I've never met this woman. Oh, by the way, here's $7.5 million to go away.
This is the most narcissistic... Just as a baby boy, mate, who's always got his own way without any shadow of a doubt.
What did the Queen do wrong with him?
What?
What did the Queen do wrong with him?
I'm not going into it on
you
this,
know
but
what?
he's always been her favourite,
I
hasn't
used to, you know, appreciate the royal family, be grateful for them and so
You
on,
should
and
be.
understand how important
You
they
should
are
be.
for our country. But I am being put off.
Oh, well, the old man would have
I am
said this,
being
and Mike
majorly
knows this,
put
I've
off.
told him before, he would say there was a mystique about the royal family when the Queen...
haven't got it.
He says when the Queen dies, it's gone, because they have all, from Charles and Diana downwards, they have used the media systematically for their own ends. There's no doubt that's true.
I mean, why
The
should
old
I
days
look
was
up to
different.
William and Kate, for example? I mean, they seem very nice people. They seem to do their duties quite nicely, but... I mean,
I don't think you have to look up
is
to
it?
them, but I think you can support them in their quest to
The
become...
institution.
What are you against? The amount of money that the institution costs?
Well,
'Cause
no,
I can answer
the
that.
scandals, the
66p a day, isn't it?
Do you know how much the American president costs the American people? Or
Well, I'm
the
not
French
comparing,
president?
but
Not
just...
more than he used to, because there's
Yeah.
all the
I
medication
think a lot of
now.
people are just sick of the sense of entitlement, the narcissism, the fact that they behave
I don't
like
think William and
celebrities
Charles-
rather than...
I don't think William and Kate are like that at all.
Well, hopefully not. And, you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to chop off the Queen's head, for goodness sake, but I
God
do
for that.
think that, you know, there
How
are
old
some
are you?
issues there. I'm in my 20s.
in her 20s.
I'm being completely honest with you. And
Sorry.
The beauty about different views is that's what a democracy is
I'm not
about.
in my 20s.
I'm a massive royalist, and I don't think that any of your generation or anybody in this country will know just how amazing that woman has been until she's no more. I am not sticking up for the rest of them, but that woman...
I agree with you. I worry about the rest of them.
Completely.
I think Emily's point is a good one, because in the end, you do
it'll
worry
change.
about Charles. You do worry.
Yeah.
I think they should actually move across Charles and just give it straight to William, because I think Charles.
That's what other
he's
people
been, but he's been, he's been waiting.
And to be honest,
know
William
what
and
it
Kate
is.
are very
Oh,
good
sorry.
people. They're putting their children into my son's schools.
Oh, there you go.
Of course they are.
Well, how about this, right? And I'm going to carry over Harry and Meghan from last week, because I always carry one over. The Queen's Commonwealth Trust, which is a charity that is associated, right, with Prince Harry's life coaching firm, paid its staff 98% of the money it raised in a year. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I always thought charity not only begins at home, but you take other people's money in order to help somebody rather than just run the charity.
Well, you
right?
know the other
98%
you know the other big
of the money
story
they
this
raised.
week about charity, don't you? Is Captain Tom's and the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
The questions, no allegations made, but they're saying you need to be transparent. My point about all of that is in these times that are so difficult, and how obviously hard it's for people to heat their homes and feed their kids and get an operation. When you give to charity, you would want to think and hope that it's going to the right place.
Well, I mean,
right?
look at Oxfam, which people were supporting every time they went into one of their charity shops, which are all across the country.
Yeah.
And look what they were doing in, where was it, Haiti?
Well, Haiti
all over the world.
and also in Africa.
All over the world.
Congo. Yeah, but that's the trouble. Most people now work in charity in lots of parts of the world because they're actually quite well paid. They're not doing it because they've got some kind
They
of,
want to travel.
Well, they want to travel. It's like the new kind of foreign, what do they used to call it? Foreign aid abroad or something like that?
Yeah.
Where you go and have some work experience somewhere in a foreign country. Now they're doing it for charitable companies, and they get paid pretty well. And some of the people running these charities are on six-figure salaries. Yeah. 200,000, 300,000 quid.
Yeah, it's
they're not getting my money.
£98,000 being spent. 98% of the money being spent
Top
on their
five
staff.
earned 400 grand between them, didn't they?
Something like that. Which brings us on to another so-called charitable institution. My next nomination is Julian Moore, the barrister, or otherwise known as I call him as Julian Moron. But so he runs this thing called the Good Law Project, which is, funnily enough, not very good at law because they keep bringing lawsuits against the government and losing. And they lost another one in the past week. They've been trying to prove that basically the government has been acting illegally by offering contracts to various people. I mean, they can't even make that stick. That's how useless they are. You know, a whole host of barristers.
Is it all through fundraising?
Yeah, they basically crowdfund everything that they do.
crowdfund everything.
And Julian Moore is such a moron
name?
at law. Julian Moore. And I believe he's
Ridiculous
originally...
name.
I think
It's
he's
hard to say.
I believe he's originally from New Zealand.
Is he a Mormon?
He's not a Mormon as far as I know, but he could be.
He's a moron.
He's a moron, is what I call him. He doesn't like it. He's accused me of libeling him.
Has he?
In the past. He's blocked me on Twitter as a
Does
result.
this devastate? You see, now, I'm going to have a discussion with both of you because you're on social media.
yeah.
You know why I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I haven't got the time. 5 kids. Does it devastate you when someone blocks you? Or
No,
does
I
it
find
fill
it
you
quite,
full of gratitude?
I find it quite amusing. I find it particularly interesting when I get blocked by MPs, because my belief is that if you're a public servant and you are paid by me to represent the people of this country, you shouldn't be blocking anybody.
Is this Angela Rayner you're talking about?
Well, I could give you a whole list.
Has Angela Rayner blocked you?
Yeah, Angela Rayner.
She blocks anyone.
She doesn't block me.
Well, yeah, but you like the Labour Party, don't you? They all get on with you.
No, I don't like the Labour Party. I try and look at both
Yeah, but you
sides.
do-
Jacob
no, but
Rees-Mogg
you
is a
do.
very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm not...
No, listen, you do talk to everybody, and that's good. But all I would
want
say,
us to have an effective opposition
Yes,
in this
but-
country.
but,
I want
I mean,
to make the government, answerable.
I'm
Whatever
blocked
that
by a whole
government
bunch of Labour MPs, including Stephen Doughty. You might remember that little spat I had
has
with
he
him.
blocked you as
yeah,
well?
the guy from Wales, funnily enough. You
Oh,
sent
is
him up
it?
in the rockets
Is
to
it?
space, perhaps. And we can talk about that. There's been plenty of others as well. Also, Chris Bryant, he's also blocked me because I retweeted...
Mike, you're just a Twitter bully.
I retweeted that picture of him in his underpants, which he didn't like. I'm
Was
sorry
it
about
not
that,
in a
Chris.
kimono with a fox?
He wasn't in a
We've done
kimono.
a whole circle on that
Yeah, we
link.
didn't even have a baseball bat. Well, at least... Well, no, I better not go there.
People should... I will say this to people who block Mike Graham. I say this to you watching this. You don't ever underestimate my mate. He's far more intelligent than any of you begin to imagine.
With all this regulation coming, Twitter parlons might be made illegal.
Yeah, but
you have to tag these people.
You say that as if I organise Twitter pylons. I don't. There are just people that support me against other people who don't. It's as simple as that. It's nothing
That
that I
would be
do.
the Owen Jones defence too.
Oh, he's blocked me as well, funny enough. So anyway, the Good Law Project, right? Its latest attempt to get the government to stand to attention and be found guilty of something or other. They lost, right? But here's what they sent out to their followers and to their crowd.
The cult members.
Breaking, we won. They didn't win. They lost, right? Julian Moore had to actually issue then a retraction of that statement, saying, I'm very sorry, I hadn't read the entire judgment.
What?
He actually said, we hadn't read the entire judgment. Turns out we haven't won and we've lost.
He's
I mean,
brilliant,
just
isn't he?
bizarre. So I can't say any more than that. He hasn't been on for a while, but he's back.
It's nice that he's back.
It is back. He is
I'd
back.
like to meet him.
Well, I don't think you would.
He sounds like an idiot.
He's always on Radio 4.
On
They
what?
get him on a lot. Well, he's always on Radio 4.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. It's that dying BBC thing.
No, it's dead.
They're all leaving.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my second nomination. Julian Moore will be back after this short break. Welcome back to Plank of the Week. I'm joined this week by Jeremy Kyle and Emily Carver. Emily, it's time for your third nomination. Please enlighten us.
Yes, so it's a little bit old now, but actually I think it's very annoying and very plankish. This is the woke head teacher,
Oh, yes.
in inverted commas, who was in a school called, this is Rachel Tomlinson, Barrisford School in Lancashire.
Yes.
What did she do? She decided that she would take it upon herself as head teacher of her school to ban all primary school children who attend that school from eating meat.
I mean, where do they think they get this power from?
This is on the back of her saying, I want my school children to not be told off by teachers. I want them to develop their own minds. I want them to be free to make their own minds, but you're not eating meat.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I mean, what if the parents object to it, which many of them have? Can they not stop it?
Well, I think that might be what happens in the end because I don't think that teachers should have that right over people's diets. But as you say, she's one of those ones who doesn't want any discipline, you know, doesn't want punishment.
Yes.
Wants them all to, you know,
Do you know what?
explore their
Can I
creativity.
say something that might... It's not libelous at all. I always worry about people out there. Have they ever actually seen a child or actually had
know,
one?
I know.
It's like people that, you know, I work in social service. You ever had a child? No. You can't say to all children, you can't eat meat. That's just ridiculous.
Well, it really is.
But the
That's
thing
just
is,
pushing your view, isn't it?
well, it's a bit of an ideology, isn't it? Vegetarianism and veganism. They think they're going to save the planet by doing this. And therefore, in order to save the planet from some kind of apocalypse, they have to, you know,
I don't see how eating
indoctrinate the
vegetables is
children.
going to stop the inevitable decline of mankind.
I'm really sorry
to be
about the
honest.
planet, but I don't like vegetables very much. So
Well,
I'm
I don't
afraid
mind
my
them
mind-
in
I don't
conjunction
mind them.
with other things.
Well, we like a bit of spinach.
Well,
with
how
a bit of
about this,
steak,
right?
But
This
you have
is-
to have a bottle of red with it.
Exactly right.
Wash it down.
Or several. This is her reasoning, right? We made our school lunches meat-free to demonstrate how each of us making a small change to our daily habits can have a much wider positive impact and that reducing meat consumption is just one way to do it. Well, how are you going to show that? How on earth are you going to explain to a 7-year-old by not eating a roast beef sandwich today, you have extended the life of the planet? Exactly.
Would
Sorry.
you like an egg and cress sandwich?
Yeah. Well, could you extend the life of the planet by even more years? I mean, I don't know how you prove that.
Also, she's got herself in trouble with the law, or at least the government's compliance of equality, because you're essentially discriminating against children who are omnivores. So she's got herself
that's
into a
true.
little bit of heat there.
And what about children that might need a meat-based diet in order to continue to fight off some disease?
Well, yes, this has raised concerns.
I mean, that's a balanced diet, isn't it?
Conversations about supplements. Could she be harming children through this?
Can I just say something that's obviously... Can she not just teach the bloody children and stop trying to lecture them about how she thinks they should live their lives? That's what's wrong with the world,
No, but
by
even
the
when
way.
I was at
Yes.
school...
Isn't it, Mike?
even
That
when
would be good.
Just teach my kids.
Well, you know, I say this often. It sounds like a bit of a mantra, but, you know, we've got the NHS that can't treat anyone because you can't go and see them because they've got too long of a waiting list. We've got police that don't like arresting anyone. We've got Border Force doesn't protect the borders. We've now got teachers who don't do any teaching. Great, isn't it? I mean...
Honestly, honestly, that's brilliant.
It's true, though.
That's absolutely
But it's true.
Brilliant. Even when I was at school, literally, they managed to get climate change into most subjects.
That's when it all
So
started.
in German, you'd be talking about fascist climate change.
I
And
said
then-
that my mantra on the radio the other day about several, not anybody here, not you.
course.
I say about a lot of people at the BBC and on radio and television are so busy trying to keep their job, they actually don't do their job. They forget to do the job. They
No.
don't have an opinion. They're so busy looking over their shoulder thinking, I might upset somebody. You don't hear anything from them. Same thing with these people.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rod Little was on today talking about Samsung. He's like, you know, I've got a Samsung phone, it doesn't work very well, but they keep sending me messages about how I can save the planet. I'd quite like it if they just made the phone work. You know, it's very simple. Just do what it says on the tin.
I feel like Rod struggles
You know.
with 2022.
Well, there probably is a bit. He's just given up smoking as well, so
Has
my
he?
heart goes out to him.
Bless his heart.
Because he
A
was
man of
coughing.
honesty, though.
He was coughing and spluttering away. Absolutely right. Now, no, it's not my turn, is it? It's your turn. It's your turn for your third one.
I'm going to throw a name as my favourite ever.
Go on.
Remy Lindum. Do you know who Remy Lindum is?
Who is Remy Lindum?
He is a Finnish cross-country skier who suffered a frozen penis during the men's 50-kilometre Olympic race. He was forced to
How
use
do you know if you've got a frozen
I've
penis?
absolutely no idea.
And why was it only his penis?
Well, I don't know if I can answer that. The way you've even said penis has thrown me off there. I mean, he was forced, I'm going to read this, he was forced to use a heat pack. He was told to put it somewhere warm. To warm up the area in question, unfortunately, it's not the first time Lindholm has had to deal with this. He suffered the same type of injury during an event in Finland last year. Yahoo reported, "Wear some pants, you idiot," or something like that. When the body parts start to warm up
long
after
johns?
the finish, he said.
Right.
After
the finish?
The pain was unbearable.
The finish?
Well, the pain was unbearable at the end. All right, moving on swiftly.
Yeah.
And then Lindholm...
I've had that.
Lindholm said, "I only came 28th out of 30th. It's not like I came first."
Very good.
That's what he said, and that's
Very good.
absolutely true.
That's
My
quite
plank
funny.
of the week is the Finnish skier who went on a 28-mile cross-country Olympic skiing thing without any pants on.
I mean,
That's brilliant.
it really is extraordinary. The one thing I can say is that I'm very happy to report that I didn't watch any of the Winter Olympics at all.
It was
Didn't
80
watch any
degrees
of
in
it.
Beijing. They just threw the snow in. I
no,
wouldn't have watched
I
it
didn't
if you
see
paid
it.
me
Did you
money,
watch any of
mate.
it?
I didn't either, and I used to ski a lot.
Did you?
And I used to watch it all. Used to do a bit of downhill.
Did you ever
Jeremy.
freeze any part of your
Do the
body?
slalom.
Did you?
I froze my fingertips.
Did you?
Did you not wear gloves?
I did, but they weren't good enough.
I used to do a bit of skiing, and if it was very cold, I used to wear tights.
You could just wear long johns.
And I wear them.
I didn't have any long
I wear them.
johns.
Some of our colleagues wear them at the weekends. Can I just say?
Just imagining
Tights
you
are great, though.
I think there's
I
a
didn't
marketing.
just wear tights. I mean, I wore other things on top of the tights. But
There's
you
a
know.
marketing thing here.
Right.
What about a sort of, I don't know, a fur-lined codpiece for male skiers? You know what I mean? A sort of
I'm sure there are
strap-on
places.
codpiece.
I'm sure there are places you can buy that.
Right, I'm going to write that
don't
down.
A fur-lined
Christmas is coming.
strap-on codpiece.
You know, why not?
For your alpine needs.
Yes, you can
Please
open a shop.
avert freezing your genitals.
Open a shop in Finland. Also, how thick do you have to be to do it more than once?
The frozen yogurt shop.
Is it like,
the frozen peanut shop?
Is it like a frostbite though? When it eventually falls off.
Well, he said that it was very
know, I'm looking at my
painful
hands.
when it warmed up.
I can
Didn't they
imagine.
tell him he had to put it somewhere warm?
Yes. I mean, I'm sorry. I know I'm
This
not
is
going to
not
be.
good.
I'm going to be accused of dumbing down Plank of the Week, but to me, that's
I don't think that's
absolutely
possible.
brilliant.
It is good.
This is another reason why it's better to be a woman.
Yeah.
No unnecessary appendages.
Well, hang on. That's not fair because some
can't say that.
women have penises.
Some women do.
I mean, I don't know if there
oh,
was
well,
any in
just
the Winter Olympics.
cancel me now.
Were there any women with penises in the Winter Olympics?
This is a subject
From
you
Finland.
know, and he's doing it deliberately, my mate. I am not ever getting involved in this debate. Just because I have
Emily
the
gets
initials
involved in it and
JK
gets
does not
slaughtered.
mean I'm going down
She
the
gets
rolling.
slaughtered all
I'm not
the
going
time,
down the
don't you?
rowling route at all.
Yeah.
I never
no,
get
there-
slaughtered, thank you.
Well, I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that people
Are you
pile on you.
objectifying her slaughtering?
No, people pile on top of her, as it were, because they don't see that.
I wish I bet that skier wishes people had piled on top of him halfway round. He'd
Well,
have been
I mean,
all right.
and also, at which point did it freeze? Did we know?
Can you imagine you're doing
Mile
that and suddenly you go,
26.
oh, it's starting to freeze. Oh, hold on, a couple of miles. It's gone. Oh, my
Oh,
God. What am I going to do?
It's really weird.
Anyway,
isn't
there you
it?
go. Remy Lindholm.
Yeah,
That was a
okay.
good one.
So my number 3 is Deborah Meaden.
Oh,
right, Deborah Meaden, who tries to make a name for herself as, I think, a member of one of these
Dragon's
BBC panel shows, Dragon's Den, because apparently, she's some kind of super duper, very successful businesswoman.
Yeah.
I don't know what her businesses are.
I'm always slightly concerned about that, exactly. I mean, she may well be a very successful
I think when that
businesswoman.
programme started, there were real, Peter Jones and Thea Pathetis, people
Yeah,
who had really,
Thea Pathetis I know,
I know
who's a
Thea,
decent
I know
guy,
Thea great.
you know.
I know Peter Jones as well. But suddenly now you made 10 grand, creating a pin, and you can be on Dragon's Den, it seems.
Well, it
Not
does
the
seem
iconic
like that.
figures of yesterday.
Well, like all the things that they do at the BBC, they're all finished. They've used them all up.
You and
It's
I
just
can
like,
say whatever, because there's about as much chance of you and I ever working at the BBC
Well, do you know,
as there is
yeah.
of Jeremy Corbyn exceeding to 10 Downing Street.
Yeah, and not siding with the Russians. This is it. People go, oh, you just want to work at the BBC. I
No.
really don't. I
No.
really don't want to
Really,
work at the BBC.
Michael,
Let's
I
state
never.
that for the record. Anyway, here's what she put out. She put out a picture of herself wearing a mask this week.
Yes.
Me going about my business today and every day until I hear a science-based argument on why wearing a mask is no longer needed to protect those more vulnerable than me. # wear a mask. The mask itself is pretty hideous. It's a picture of a cat looking at you, right? Now,
Can I have a look?
yeah, I
She's
don't
going to be
understand.
very upset tomorrow.
I don't understand why you would even have a mask that looked like that, because I feel anyone with a sort of bespoke mask, like Theresa May, tries to have a mask that matches her dress or something. I've seen Kate, Princess of Cambridge, Duchess of Cambridge, wearing that as well.
It's
and
rather
you just
stylish
think,
in her mask.
well, yeah, I mean, don't be stylish with your mask. If you're really that pathetic that you think you should wear one because it stops other people from getting COVID, then fine. But, just wear one of those blue ones like everybody else does.
But she's going to be very upset tomorrow when even Sadiq Khan
Yes.
is now given up
Even
on
he's,
masks.
he's given up the ghost.
Well, he didn't
on
give
masks.
up, did he, when he was lecturing everybody else? When he went to the fight and the football on a freebie on Saturday, because I saw him in the Amir Khan.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting there without
That's
a mask.
fine.
And don't talk to me about that duplicitous
No,
human being.
I know.
Well, exactly. And how many meals out do you think Deborah Meaden's had without her mask?
Well, I mean,
come
Can I
on.
say something that's probably not going to be... You two probably won't agree. It's what I've said from day one. I don't care if she wants to wear a mask. I don't care if I don't want to wear a mask. I said from 2.5 years ago, take responsibility for your own life and your own decisions.
Well, exactly.
Don't try and foist what you want to do onto me and I won't do the same to you. That's
No,
it.
exactly.
Of
But
course,
also,
it's just an annoying post, though, isn't it?
I've never got involved with the whole COVID thing because I can't. Because I've got more important things to talk about. We've gone on this for years and years. My daughter, 18, tested positive on Saturday, 3 days after she had her booster jab. Guess what happened to her dad back in November?
you had the same
He tested
problem.
positive 3 days after he had his booster jab.
Yep.
I'm not into conspiracy at all.
I think the booster weakens your immune system for a few days and then...
She might also have gone drinking in Leeds for a week, and I didn't. But I'm telling you, it's quite interesting. But there you go. Listen,
Well, it isn't.
she wants to wear a mask, wear it. But Deborah, you don't need to tell us about it and wear a
And you don't have to put a picture.
And
You don't have to put a picture of yourself with the mask on. I mean, it's so ridiculous now that people have gone, oh well, I'm just going to keep wearing mine. Well, as you say, if you want to, fine, but you look ridiculous. People do look ridiculous in them.
I remember, I was thinking about this. Do you remember you used to go to Chinatown in London, you'd see the Japanese and the Chinese people wearing the music and we'd laugh. Maybe I'm
Remember
different
Michael
from you.
Jackson?
I don't care
Michael
if
Jackson
you want
wore
to
one.
wear a mask. That's your business.
Right.
I'm not going to look at you.
Yeah.
But don't tell me I have to or I don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's like the same people who go, this nanny state, this government's telling us what to do. Spent yesterday on my show saying, what are we going to do now? He said we can get away with it now. What do you want?
Yes.
Live your life.
Do what
Be
you wish.
free. There's
Yes.
a song in there.
People want to be told what to do, Jeremy.
Some of them do.
And then
I'm
moan
not-
about it
I'm
when
not
they
one of
are
them.
Not
told.
us.
And
No,
then moan
you
about
don't-
it.
You don't like being told what to
And
do.
then moaned about it when they've been told, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to be told what to do.
No. Well, I mean,
people
the
to
peak
respect my decision.
ludicrousness of the whole COVID affair for me was when Beth Rigby from Sky TV asked Boris Johnson, who had said that on Monday you can sunbathe, she said, can I sunbathe on Sunday?
Oh, my God, I forgot about that.
Right? And I went, sorry? Well, if you want to.
Beth Rigby, let me just sort of, again, if I was Boris's chief of communications, right, when he was absolutely under the cosh,
Yes.
completely right, and she was going like this, but you were having a party.
Yeah.
I'd have said to him, I've always been in his ear and gone, but I thought you were thrown out of Sky for 3
you
months
were.
for
Suspended.
breaking it.
Yeah.
Is that not right?
And on a competing
I'm not sticking
radio,
up for him.
On a competing radio station...
Hold on.
I heard-
Nobody
I heard
competes with- no, nobody
Hold on.
competes with us.
Don't use inaccurate
No,
language.
nobody
Is
competes
it on
with
a
us.
lesser radio station?
The only radio station that's
No,
British
no,
radio
hang on.
station that went
No.
through the roof last
No,
time
the
was
reason
us.
the
There isn't
reason
one.
is that it's not a competitor, is that nobody competes with us because we are in fact a hybrid, because nobody else does what
That's
we
true.
do. We're not just a radio
I
station,
don't
right?
think you'll find that any
We're
other
a way
radio-
of life.
I don't think any other radio station, hybrid TV station, went up in the last radio. I think
No.
everybody else went down. I
Yes.
think you should change that and say on the fastest growing #1 commercial talk radio station in the United Kingdom. Fact.
Yes, very true.
But I was
anyway,
referring to another lesser radio station,
Yes.
which isn't anything like this one, which is a hybrid TV radio
Exactly.
station.
So that's
What are
better.
you talking about?
They were
don't know.
asking the presenter.
What's your point?
The presenter was asking the health secretary what to do if he got a runny nose. This is a man in his 40s.
Really?
Asking the health secretary and then insisting on him to tell him exactly what he should do in every single scenario.
Forgetting that,
Because
have
this
you
testing was gone.
accepted that saying that a radio station like ours, have you accepted that
I
that
think
was
she
an
has.
accurate
Yes.
comment?
She has
It was
accepted
totally inaccurate. I'm glad
Yeah.
you pulled me up on it.
I think it was a pointless thing
In that
to say.
robust
I'm
way.
I'm joking.
that. Okay, now let's pick the winner of Plank of the Week. Jeremy, you remember how this goes. We have
Yep.
to whittle down the 3 to 1 now, basically. So I think you should probably choose Emily's. So, Emily, why don't you give Jeremy your 3 nominations?
Oh,
and,
I don't know which one I want mine to go through, but go on.
well, I'll pick
You can
yours.
vote for your own.
Right,
Well, no,
so
you
what am I-
can't.
Give me,
Oh.
Well, no, he chooses-
Don't change
no.
the rules.
I haven't changed
Not
them.
you, her. She come
I'm
here
going to
and
butt out. I mean, I've only been on the show,
She's
20 odd times.
Every time Emily's on this show, she gets into trouble. Not necessarily with me, but there's always somebody
With
attacking
the
her.
nation.
What are your 3?
So
what are your
tell him
3?
your 3.
They were Nicola Sturgeon for always wanting the English to pay for everything.
Yes.
Then there was Jeremy Corbyn for always being on anyone's side but the West.
But the Wests, yeah.
And then lastly, the vegan woke head teacher.
Well, it's between Sturgeon and Corbyn for me.
Is it? Okay.
It's who I
mean, the thing is, the vegan teacher was a while ago.
I'm going to go for Nicola Sturgeon because I literally don't like that woman at all.
And also, she does have this very annoying manner now, doesn't she? She's become this kind of school marm.
I was going to say sleepy Joe Biden. It frightens me that he's the leader of the free world. It might be the people around him. Prince Charles for giving the Queen COVID.
Yeah.
And I was always taught years ago when you're doing radio and television, if you wanted to put emphasis on something.
Yes.
Or maybe Remy Lindholm, the man who's got a frozen penis.
Well, listen, you don't have to convince me because there's only one plank of the week for me, and it's got to be the Finnish man.
Definitely.
He did finish it,
Who finished in a way that he wasn't really prepared for.
Oh, man.
What a fantastic story that is. Because I only saw it yesterday, actually, and retweeted it. So what's his name? Remy what?
Remy Lindholm.
Remy Lindholm.
Or Remy Frozen.
Frozen Lindholm. That's a great one. OK, so now you get to choose mine. The Welsh Government, for their brand new space programme.
Just
ridiculous.
I can't.
Deborah Meaden for wearing a mask because nobody's proved to her that it's not doing any good.
Okay.
I mean, that's a bit like saying, I'm just going to keep crawling on my hands and knees to get anywhere because nobody's told me I'm an idiot, isn't it?
And I'll end up destroying both my knees, you know.
Exactly.
And, you know.
Exactly. And then Julian Moore for pushing out of the story that he had won a court case when in fact he hadn't won it, he'd lost it.
I think most people know who Julian Moore is now.
Yes.
They watch this. So I'm going to go for him.
Are you?
I don't think he's too obscure.
You're not going to go for the Welsh Government
You're
space
going for the
programme?
rocket? Come on.
I mean, you don't have to.
I know you've got a lot of Welsh viewers and listeners, and they might not take too kindly to you being so rude about their infrastructure
There's nobody that
and their ambitions.
No, there's nobody I know in Wales who thinks this is ever going to happen.
Some people thought we were just a small island that couldn't achieve much in the world.
Wales
but
isn't an island.
No, but
Part of the
they're
United
our
Kingdom.
Island.
Yeah, and we've got a space programme as British people, but the Welsh don't need their own, do they?
Okay, I'll stop being so earnest now and go for the Welsh.
Very good. It's the first time I've had it corrected.
Well, I think, you know, she'll show.
Yeah.
It's your show.
I mean, we
That's
can
what
make
you
Julian.
wanted,
We
you
can
know.
make Julian Moore fourth.
You convinced me. It's
these
part
are just
of
the
the
top
thing,
three.
isn't it?
So
I mean,
now,
you have to say the frozen penis, the rocket, and Nicola Sturgeon. I mean, basically, can I just say something? I'd like to put Nicola Sturgeon with a frozen penis in a rocket and send her away forever, to be honest.
do you know, there's a joke there, but I'm not going to make it.
No.
My father,
not a threat.
when I was a child, used to make stories up, right? And he would come in and sit on the bed where my sister and I would sleep in the bunk beds, and we would give him 3 things that he would make a story out of. Can you imagine if those were the 3 things that you had to make a story out of?
I saw Bob
Man with a
Monkhouse
frozen penis, Nicola Sturgeon, and a space programme
and a
in
Welshman
Wales.
with a rocket. I saw Bob Monkhouse, by the way. I have to just say this: the greatest stand-up comic in the history of the world. And he'd have an audience, literally, and he'd take 5 things random, and he'd do a joke from the beginning to end about those 5 things.
Yeah.
Same thing as your dad.
Amazing. Absolutely
Real
incredible.
talent.
So the question is, who's going to win? Who's going to be Plank of the Week? What do you think? Who's your nominee?
I mean, to me, it's between the rocket and the frozen penis. I'm sorry, it really is. I mean,
Is it a rock and a hard place? Is that what you want to say? I don't think we can do that.
a rocket and a hard place.
I don't know, actually, if it would be hard. No, can't. No, we're not going to do that.
I'm naturally lent towards the skier.
The skier is brilliant.
But I also, sorry,
really
no
is.
disrespect to Nicola Sturgeon, I love the Welsh rocket one as well, but I am naturally bent towards the picture.
What do you think, Emily?
Well, I mean, you kind of convinced me on the Welsh
No,
one.
you say what you want, Emily, and we'll change it.
I mean, you know what? We always tend to go for, you know, political ones. So perhaps it's time for a frozen penis to make the...
Well, I don't think it's going to happen again, is it?
It's not going to happen again.
There's no Winter Olympics now for another, 4 years?
It's happened to Remy twice. Remy needs to buy some pants.
Listen, Remy really does need to get some help in that area.
It's the only thing you need to know about the Beijing Winter Olympics.
And well, as you said earlier, what about long johns? Why doesn't he wear those?
No, but they have, apparently, these warming pants. Like, you
Warming
know, you have
pants.
hand warmers
Yes.
and feet warmers. They have groin
Penis warmers?
No, groin warmers. But this man, you know those suits they wear because of speed? You've seen it. You'd know.
It's like lycra, isn't it?
It's like lycra.
Yeah.
It's minus 37.
A catsuit.
This is a very, very true story. I don't even know where this has come from. I was once doing a programme in Lapland for ITV for Make-A-Wish for children.
Oh, yeah.
It was lovely. And they said, you need to do some links. And there's no water ski. And these were long links. It took 4 hours. Right? It was minus 30 degrees. I've got a hat on. And the bloke said, take your hat off. And I said, it's freezing. He went, Noel Edmonds never wore a hat when he was doing things for kids. And my ears nearly fell off. So I sympathise with the man.
Well, there we are. So I guess in that case we're going to have perhaps Nicola Sturgeon as number 3, maybe.
Yeah, she's had enough.
Yeah.
Plank.
I mean, she was in Plank of the Year as well.
Was she?
Welsh Government Space Programme number 2.
I love
Brilliant.
it, mate.
This is a great episode, I have to say, because Frozen Penis Man, as I've got it written down here. What's his name again? I keep asking you.
Remy Lindon.
Remy!
Oh, yeah, Remy.
Remy Lindon.
Willy's very cold.
Yeah. Remy Lindon, you are, without a shadow of a doubt, the Plank of the Week. Thank you very much indeed. Congratulations. I hope you've warmed up now. Jeremy Kyle, thank you.
Thanks.
Emily Carver, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you next time.